Hi and welcome to The Witch in the Woods. Today we want to talk about communicating with other beings. Rosie, I want the chair. You're gonna give me the chair. Oh, it's not fair, is it? Rosie. She occupies this chair day and night. Really takes umbrage. Hi, welcome to The Witch in the Woods. I'm Caroline, if you don't know me, and I have been a practising witch since the age of 5. No, honestly, I was a witch at 5. Well, I wrote spells all over my Enid Blyton book. I was playing with fireplaces and cauldrons and brewing spells, so you just know, don't you? Always witch, always witch. I always was witch. Yeah, I self-initiated at about 14. I was taught by a traditional Welsh witch at about 20, 25. From 14, that would give me 38 years of being a witch. That's quite a few, isn't it? That's 25 years of being a witch, 20 years of being a witch. That's a long time. It's a long time. Anyway, welcome to my channel. So, there are many aspects of witchcraft and paganism, and there's no real rules. It's okay to practice in whatever way you like. So everything I say here, you can take it or leave it, really can. You can practice witchcraft by creating spells, or maybe you don't want to create spells. Some people create altars or not create altars. I don't tend to have altars at all. That's sort of, my house is one big altar. You can do whatever you like. You can work in a city, you can work in the country. It's really your own personal choice. But today's video is about working with the subtle energies of spirit and subtle energetic matters. So as I say, don't let this freak you out. If this is not what you want to do, then I am not going to make you sit down and study this material. I can simply offer you some practical tips and guides in how to subtle the natural spiritual world around us. Now, I'm a great believer in the spirit world. I've had contact with it since I was very young, as many of us have, to be honest. And yeah, there were fairies around me when I was young, and when I was sort of in my teenage years, there were ghosts. And yeah, this is not a story that is unfamiliar to quite a few people. But if I were to explain it, I would say that the spirit world is a world of consciousness, and it could be described as the consciousness of trees, the consciousness of plants, the consciousness of flowers. To believe that we are the only living beings that possess a consciousness is a very narrow point of view. In fact, the whole world is made up of energy and matter. And if you believe your dog and your cat has a consciousness, then why is it so difficult to believe that maybe a tree has a consciousness, or even a rock has a consciousness? So what I'd like to introduce to you are some ways of practicing and honing your own skills of working with subtle energies, working with spiritual energies, working with spirit guides, and enhancing your own self-development, intuition and personal power. As witches, we'd like to honour the living world in all its forms, and this in many ways takes us away from the consensus reality of materialism. People might think we're a bit strange and a bit odd, but to be honest, that's no bad thing. So here, let's see if there are many ways we can learn to work with spirit. So my first tip is to learn to meditate. Now, meditation is something that's seen by many people as being practiced by mystics who are far removed from society, who've studied years of asceticism and deep spiritual union and now sit on a mountain top in lotus position. The truth is, this is not the only goal of meditation. You can learn to meditate simply by having a cup of coffee in the morning and taking a few deep breaths. You can meditate at the end of the day, you can meditate on a bus staring out of the window. Really, the art of meditation is something that we can all achieve and something that we ought to learn to incorporate into our day. One misguided notion of meditation is that it is a state of no thought. It's very difficult to achieve a state of no thought, and therefore I prefer to think of meditation as a state of controlled thought. And controlled thought is when you don't let the chatter of your mind run away with you, but in fact you are in charge of the mind itself and not the other way around. So here are my tips if you want to learn how to meditate. 1. Become the observer. Now, this makes meditation a lot easier if you do have your eyes open, because when you have your eyes open you have something else for your mind to concentrate on. Simply observe the world around you. Try not to run away with logical thoughts about what you're observing. Just concentrate on your breathing and your being. Number 2, whenever you feel yourself drawn into that mental chatter that runs away with you, just stop and say to yourself, thinking. When you have recognised that you are thinking and that your mind is getting carried away, it's so much easier to stop the process, let go, release those thoughts and carry on with a state of observation. Number 3, concentrate on your breathing. Yoga practices are very useful for this, and in pranayama after a yoga session you lie on the floor and you concentrate on the little area in your nostrils, somewhere within your nostril itself, where you can feel the cold air turn into warm air as it enters your body, and the warm air turn into cold air as it leaves your body. And with this passing of breath, if you concentrate on that one point of being, you'll soon find yourself in a very relaxed state of mind. Number 4, learn to breathe in sunlight. Now, this is better with your eyes perhaps closed or partially closed. I do not advocate that you sun gaze, it can blind you. But by breathing in sunlight, you can absorb energy in the form of light into your own body and into your energetic being. This is best done at dawn and dusk if you want to look directly at the sun, of course being cautious. But you can draw this energy at any time of the day into your third eye and into your body. You can store it in your solar plexus, you can use it to awaken your third eye. And this is a very good practice for getting in touch with the subtle energy in the form of light. It doesn't matter if you meditate in your garden or on your sofa. The whole purpose of meditation is to slow down your thoughts, become aware of your own consciousness and concentrate on your breath. The best thing to do is to turn off your phone, walk away from technology and become present. My second tip for developing your psychic skills, your intuition and your awareness of subtle energies and spirit guides is to take a walk in nature. When you're in nature, you're in a higher vibrational energy anyway, and you can absorb this peace, this quiet, this state of being into your own body. This is a great chance to practice the art of mindfulness. As practicing witches, we can honour the earth and her cycles, and by taking a walk out in nature, we can observe which plants are in season, what is coming into flower, or which trees are in their prime. When we are in this state, we align ourselves with the seasons of the earth and her cycles. It helps us also to understand those plants and those trees, and to help us work with those plant spirits. Now, how do we work with plant spirits, and what are plant spirits? One particular exercise when you're learning to work with these nature spirits is to sit with your back against the trunk of a tree. A tree is a massive energetic being, and when you sit there with your back to its trunk, you can begin to sense its energy and its presence. Obviously, a large tree has quite a large energy, it is quite a large being, and the larger the being, the better. Once you're sat there for a while, you may sense the consciousness of the tree, the presence of the tree, and the life of that tree. If you can, sit there with your eyes closed and simply be with the tree. When you become proficient at this, you will no longer need to sit with a being to observe its energy and to sense its aliveness. You can sit with a river, you can sit with a flower, and you will sense its subtle energy, its subtle presence. This exercise will help you get in touch with the spiritual energies that you are observing. We are all energetic beings, and we are influenced by those energies that are around us. So to become aware and to become conscious of this helps us enormously understand which energies we want to take in and which energies we may want to deflect. Number 3, this is using your body as an energy channel, and this is also about taking in or deflecting certain energies. There are a few practices that will help us determine what we are sensing in our body and how to absorb and take in other energies from other places. And one of these practices is to differentiate between earth energy and sky energy. And this has been important to shamans and magicians for centuries. So one subtle exercise to become aware of the earth energy and the sky energy is to draw these energies into our bodies. This exercise that I will give you also helps you to ground your energy. Now, grounding is very important so that we do not fly away into our thoughts. When we fly away, when we become oversensitized, we may in fact leave our bodies. And when we leave our bodies open, we may leave them open to be inhabited by other entities or other energies that we do not want there. We do not always know who is running the show. So grounding is an important way of owning our own sphere. The most basic grounding technique is to walk barefoot. And very often we wear shoes and we forget our energetic connection to the earth through the soles of our feet. So walking barefoot or standing barefoot on the earth is a great way to begin to sense the energy that the earth gives out from its magnetic core, and through which we absorb energy into our own energetic system. Of course, it's not always easy to walk barefoot, but just spending a few minutes out standing wherever you can in nature with your feet on the earth is a very beneficial practice. Even walking around your own home in bare feet is beneficial for, what's the word? For stimulating those chakras in our feet soles. The soles of our feet. Our feet have souls. Another way to do this is to consciously draw that energy through the soles of our feet and up our spine. So this energetic practice is a meditation, and you can sit for this meditation and visualize the soles of your feet absorbing the earth energy as well as the base of your spine. Now, if you can imagine the energy that emanates from the earth being drawn up through your feet, through your spine and into your solar plexus on an in-breath, you can hold it in your solar plexus and store it there for a second if you like, and then breathe it back down into the earth to ground and take away all that negative static energy that you may be carrying. You can do this several times, breathing in, drawing up the energy, holding it in the solar plexus and breathing it out again. Then if you want to continue experimenting, you can bring in the sky energy, and this comes in through the spirit star chakra. Many people have many different names for this, which is the chakra about 6 inches above your head. And you can bring it down from the universe, from the sun, if that's easier to imagine, from the centre of the universe, if that's easier to imagine, from the stars, and bring it down through your body, past your third eye, through your heart and back into the centre of your being, the solar plexus. Then when you breathe out, you can return it back to the stars. And this differentiates between earth energy and astral energy. So if you want to, you could detect whether you can notice any subtle changes in those energies as you breathe them in. You can practice breathing in both sides, and eventually, if you feel comfortable, you can bring them in together to meet at the solar plexus, and then to send them back to where they are. Send them back to where they came from. This conscious breathing technique helps you to bring weight and awareness into your body, to bring grounding into your body, to feel the connection and weight of being a being of energy upon a huge ball of energy. Another way to keep grounded is to imagine an anchor dropping from the base of your spine deep, deep, deep into the earth to meet the core of the planet, this molten ball of iron, and to anchor you down there so that you are firm and secured. And this is a great technique before any meditation or before any journeying or magical work, to make sure that you are plugged in. Now, I like to visualise a cord like a branch going down through the earth, and when it meets the central core, roots extending from that branch, wrapping around the core and keeping me anchored there. By doing this, it's a much more organic experience, and I don't have to re-visualise this anchor all the time. I am already connected through my roots to the centre of the earth. Now, these exercises help you with my 4th suggestion for learning to work with subtle energies, and that is visualisation. Beginning with simple exercises like drawing energy into your body helps you with the subtle meditation of visualisation. Now, not everybody thinks they can visualise, and in fact some people cannot visualise. It's a medical complaint. So do not expect everyone to be able to visualise to the same extent and to the same degree. Everybody has a predominant sense. Some people are visual, some people are sensory, some people hear. So you've got to work with your own predominant sense. But working with visualisation is a good exercise to try and hone whatever skills you can in this art. Now, don't worry if you can't visualise, don't beat yourself up about it, it's really not that important. Don't worry if you can't trust your visualisation, if you're not trusting what you're receiving. The best way is to just go with it. Just, if it doesn't work, if something freaks you out about what you're visualising, don't worry about it, just let it go. Don't think too much about it, don't read too many meanings into it. The art of visualisation comes through relaxation and meditation. A basic visualization technique is to see yourself surrounded by white light, and this helps you work with your aura as well. If you can imagine your aura as surrounding a sphere of white light around you, then maybe you want to work with certain visualization techniques, such as putting a protective layer around the aura. And here you can use colours of cobalt blue or a purple, a violet around the edge of the aura. If you need to, you can put a gold band around your aura, and you can see this gold band as deflecting all negative energies from you. You may want to put a silver ball around your aura, and this may help you draw in intuitive energies. You can experiment with different colours for different effects. If you want, you can try and meditate and visualise your aura and see if you have any dark holes in your aura. Maybe you have weapons in your aura, and these could be energetic attacks or energetic wounds. This is best done with your eyes closed, and if you do see any dark areas or any weapons, don't panic and don't freak out. Simply take back your power, remove those areas, remove those weapons, fill them with white light, and then seal your aura against further attack. Now, this is a great way to start basic visualization, and it also gives you control over your own energy fields. Perhaps you want to visualize sending different colors into your energy field. If you have a dark patch in front of your heart, you may want to send it pink or green. If you have one over your solar plexus, you might want to send yellow energy to that area. And this is a very subtle healing skill as well. You should pay particular attention to those areas of your body and your aura that you may not see and you may not be aware of quite as often. So this is things like your back, behind your head, your feet, at the top of your head. We tend to be aware of the aura around us, but let's not forget it extends all the way around our body. And so our back is very often unprotected, which is why we very often receive wounds in our back, and the saying such as being stabbed in the back may relate to these energetic and psychic wounds. So always pay attention to filling and protecting the area behind you as well as in front. So, as well as being able to work with earth energies and sky energies through our body as a channel, we can also send and receive energies. In fact, we are always sending and receiving energies. And so this is my tip number 5 of how to work with energy and spirit. And this is learning to send and receive. So the 3 exercises I would recommend to learn and practice how to send and receive energies are very basic, but let's remember that if we are opening ourselves up to sending and receiving energies, it's always a good idea, if you can, to smudge a space, to prepare a space, and to try and create an environment that is of a higher vibration. So the first exercise I would give you is the art of sensing energy between your palms. We have chakras in our palms that help us feel. We feel every day with them, but we're also feeling subtle energies. And so for this exercise you can sense the energy between your palms. If you just gently bring your palms together and then move them apart and bring them together without touching several times. As you do this, you may actually feel the tingling between your palms. You can expand that energy and allow it to push your hands out. Then you can concentrate that energy and push it back in, and then allow it to push your hands back out again. Can you feel the energy between your palms? If you can you visualize energy moving out of your palms to form a ball of bright light, a ball of chi, as it's called, between your hands. Can you feel that ball of chi slightly pushing against your palms? Can you feel it growing larger and larger? If you can hold that ball of chi for a while, just imagine it going brighter and brighter, brighter and brighter, and pushing harder and harder against your palms, growing in strength. Push your hands just slightly together and feel that resistance. You actually feel that ball of chi. Now take this ball of chi and place it inside your body. Bring it into your heart. Then ask it to be sent anywhere in your body that you may need healing at this time. And try and find and follow it as it goes through your body. See which area it may go to. Can you sense darkness in that area? Can you visualize that ball of energy breaking up that darkness and bringing healing? So this is a great way of working in energetic healing, and you can send that energy to other people as well as taking it into yourself. Now the thing about energetic healing is not to become too attached to sending healing energy into another for their own gain, because in this way you might actually pick up their illness. And so you've got to protect yourself if you're ever doing that. You've got to make sure that the energy that you are channeling to another person is not a personal energy. It is not coming from your own car, which is your own spiritual body, but it is in fact a divine energy that is being channeled from another place to the other person. Always remember to protect yourself, to wash off those energies when you're finished, to make sure you've not picked up anything that you would not want and carried it along and taken it on as your burden into yourself. So this is a wonderful exercise to understand and start using spiritual energy. I totally recommend Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a lovely way of working with that ball of chi and learning to move around it, and at its most basic form it is learning to flow with energy. Dance as well is a great way of getting in touch with that subtle energy. The second exercise I would give you is learning how to sense energies in crystals and stones and shells, but I would say that crystals were the easiest energies to sense. And to do this, what you will do is put a crystal into your palm, and through your palm, through that chakra, try and differentiate if you can feel that energy, if it's different to another energy. You want to work with your non-dominant hand. This is your receiving hand. Your dominant hand is your sending hand. So in most people's cases, in your left palm place a crystal. If you're left-handed, in your right palm place a crystal. Then try a different crystal and see if you can sense a different energy. Play with a few crystals like this, seeing if you can sense an energy as lightness and sparks, or as heaviness and weight, as presence, as power. With lots of practice you will find it second nature to sense the energy of crystals. When you sense the energies of crystals, you will find it second nature to sense the energies of other things, areas around you, of a room, of people, and simply by observing you will know that you can actually absorb and sense another's energy. So the third exercise is to practice sending energy, and as we can receive energy very easily, it may take a little more effort to send energy. If you've ever seen a Kirlian photograph, you will see that energy emanates out of a being. We are magnetic beings, Magnetism and electricity are two sides of the same coin. We live on a magnetic planet with an iron ball in its core. There is energy all around us. So for this exercise, if you can imagine shooting out of your hand a spark of energy that is travelling through your arm, that is travelling through your body. If you can, try and visualise it as a ray of light. See it as a white light, or perhaps easier as a blue light. You may see it as a navy blue or dark blue light. And the more you do this, the more you will be able to sense and see that energy that emanates from your hands. You can also use a wand first, but I would recommend using the tip of your finger to begin with, because we have more of a connection to our body and to our own personal energy this way. Then if you want to see that light, perhaps you can draw a line of blue lights or a line of white lights. And this practice helps you develop your third eye. So if you want, you can draw symbols. Draw a circle with that blue light. You may not see it as if it was a marker pen, but you may be able to see a subtle trail of that blue energy that you are leaving behind. If you're drawing any symbols, once you've finished with them, send them back to the universe. It's not necessary to leave them hanging around. It is better to return them from where they came from. Another way you can use this sending energy is to visualise a doorway. This could actually be a real doorway. And into this doorway, you want to send a repelling energy. And you want to visualise this repelling energy sending away anything that is negative, that does not have your highest interests at heart. Maybe it's visitors you don't want, maybe it's people who just gossip and bring negative energies with them. You want to visualise that ward over a doorway, and you are using your subtle energy to keep that at bay, to keep your boundaries, to protect your space. So visualise that for a little while, then remove that, and now try and picture in a doorway, either a psychic doorway or a real doorway, and in that space you want to feel a receptive energy, and you want that doorway to bring in lots of energy flowing to you. This is positive healing energy, this is friendship and love. This is attracting good things into your life, and you're bringing it in through that doorway. So sit bathing in that energy for a while, and then take that away and just return to a normal space. And now whenever you do these energies, afterwards always make sure that you have returned into your body and you have come back to grounding. Don't walk around spaced out. Definitely don't drive a car spaced out. Come back into yourself, and if you want you can do this by eating, by drinking, by focusing on the room around you, by touching an object, by getting up and walking. This will all bring you back to the present moment and back into your body, and that is always the best way to end any meditation or any practice. This is why we have cakes and ale. Let's have some cakes and ale. I quite fancy cakes and ale, to be honest. Best part of magic, that is. So, the more you work with these energies, the more they will bring you into contact with spiritual beings. Yes, we're getting woo-woo. Now is the time to come out in your freakiest crazy person. Yay! I hear voices. I can see people that aren't there. Okay, lots of people worry that they're going to be considered crazy, so rule number one, don't talk about it to people who don't understand. Rule number 2, understand that there is consciousness all around us and there are many dimensions all around us. If anyone wants to argue with you, say, aha, but you can't see radio waves, can you? But they're there. So, now I'm going to talk about getting in touch with spirit guides and spirit contacts. So how do you know you're in touch with a spirit guide or a spirit contact? Well, very often you might see a spark of light. And these can be white lights or blue flashes of light around you. Now, don't worry if you haven't experienced this, but let me say, when you do, you'll know what you just did. And what you're seeing is a spirit being making contact with you. Now, I don't want to go into the classifications of spirit beings here, just to say that we have to differentiate between lower astral energies and higher, more divine energies. And of course, what we want to work with are the higher energies. If you're taking any advice, if you're taking any guidance, you don't want to contact the lowest spiritual entity you can find and ask it what you should be doing about your life, because it will tell you all sorts of bollocks, basically. Beware of the bollocks you take in. So my advice when it comes to spirit work is take everything with a pinch of salt. If some spirit being comes to you and tells you you need to do so and so and so and so, and it sounds like absolute nonsense to you, you are the deciding factor of whether you take that advice or not. If it does not feel right to you, do not do it. Say, no, I'm sorry, I am not doing that. If you do not trust a spirit contact, disconnect from that spirit. Tell it to leave. Protect your space, protect your aura, and ground yourself. Start again when you feel more clear. Now, the thing about spirit contacts is fear attracts fear. If you are afraid of contacting spirit, it is like sending out a massive beacon out there, massive signal that says, come here and frighten the shit out of me. And that's what you're going to get. That is what you're going to attract to yourself, is some freaky and scary nonsense. Now, we can't always help that because energy is absorbed in places, and sometimes that needs to be dealt with first. If you're in that kind of place, I wouldn't try and do meditation or any kind of spiritual work unless you are very protected, you're in a circle, you have strong spirit guides protecting you, and you are able to deal with that kind of entity. As a beginner, don't worry about all that. Just think fluff, it'll be fine. So, the easiest way of contacting spirit guides is, believe it or not, through doing tarot cards. Learning to do tarot cards and doing oracles. Now, you may not really think it, but every time you are using a tarot or you're doing a tarot reading, in some way you are asking spirit to give you guidance. And spirit is answering in the best way it knows how. And the best way spirit knows how to talk to you is through symbols. And this is why using and practicing with tarot cards is a great way of learning to use the spiritual, symbolic communication that speaks to your subconscious. Now, when you get spirit communication, you're not using the logical side of your brain, you're using the intuitive side of your brain. And the intuitive side of your brain talks through symbols. So, the act of choosing a tarot card, the act of doing a tarot reading, is bringing you spiritual guidance from beings that you can generally trust to be of a higher vibration, and from a path that has been used by many for many years. If you try and do a card reading and you are strung out and you are searching for answers to the unknown and your anxiety is getting high, then not only will your reading get messed up and your mind get more confused, but there is a good chance that you will start drawing in those negative energies, negative entities that will play with your head. Just like human beings, there are entities out there who just love to play with your head, and that is their entire purpose for being. So, as you would for any spiritual work, you may want to smudge, you may want to cleanse your space, you may want to make sure you're in the right state of mind to consult spirits. If you take these few precautions, then you may learn a lot through working with oracles and tarot cards and communicating with spirit guides in this way. Another way to work with spirit is to learn about your own symbols, and through the spirit communication that you may actually get through the hours of sleep. And so for this, I would recommend keeping a dream journal. You can keep a dream journal by your bedside, and in the morning when you wake up, before you go down, before you make coffee, write your dreams down, because the longer you leave it, the more you will forget about the details of those dreams. So keep it somewhere very close by your bed and be prepared to write in it as soon as you wake up and as soon as you recall a dream. You may think that you don't dream, and you may think that you can never remember your dreams, but if you go to sleep at night and say to yourself, I am remembering my dreams, I will remember my dreams, then in the morning your consciousness has already been tuned into the fact that it wants to remember and be aware of those dreams. Never discount the ingenious ways that spirit can talk to you. It can talk to you through your subconscious, it can talk to you in your dreams, and it can talk to you in symbols. And by keeping a dream journal, you get to later go back and read it, and it will become clear, possibly, what the meaning of the dream was and what it was trying to bring to your awareness. You can also go into your dreams and ask each person in your dream, or ask each object in your dream, who are you? What do you mean? What is your meaning? What are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? And through doing this to each object and to each person that you encounter, you may begin to get a better awareness of what this dream means to you. Another useful way of learning to work with subtle energies and with spirit communication is to work with a pendulum. Now, if you haven't worked with a pendulum before, it's a simple way of asking spirit to give you a negative or a positive response. Now, some people say that dowsing is an extension of your own body, but the fact is that your body may be giving out a positive or a negative response all the time, and all we really need to do is tune into it and pick that up. So, to work with a pendulum, first ask that pendulum, what is your response? That means yes. So the pendulum should then move either in a circular fashion or backwards and forwards, or perhaps it does a particular pattern that is particular to you, which is why you ask it, what is my answer for yes? You then ask the pendulum, what is my answer for no? And it will give you another direction. So if it was spinning circularly, it may now swing backwards and forwards. Once you've identified your answers for yes and no, you can then go on to asking the questions that you want answers to that can be answered by a yes or no answer. Once you've done this for a little time, you may actually detect in your body your own positive and negative responses to issues and questions that you may have. As I say, with all acts of divination, do not get attached to outcomes. Try to remain as blank and as carefree about the answer as is possible, and just read the answer from an observation point of view. If you try to ask the same question over and over again, you will muddy the answer, you will draw in negative energies, and you will start to get very wound up. It is best to be in a clear state of mind if you're going to consult any oracle or do any divination. This is simply because when you project energy into again and again and again trying to get the answer you want, you are not simply being receptive to what the universe tells you. You are now starting to mess around with trying to get the answer you want, which is not what you're after. Divination is a useful tool, but do not let it rule your life. Do not seek answers for every small avenue, every small step of the way. A little and often is a very good way to use divination tools. Simply pick a tarot card for the day. Then later in the day you can return to it and see what that card and that symbolism meant to you. And this is a great way to slowly learn your way around a tarot deck or around an oracle deck. My last piece of advice is a useful tool for learning to channel communication and spiritual guidance through you, and this is automatic writing. Now, automatic writing has also been called stream of consciousness writing, and this is to write whatever comes into your mind on a piece of paper, and the art is not to censor it, not to stop it and try and change direction, not to think about it and try and give an answer or give a direction to your writing, but simply write word after word after word after word of whatever comes into your mind. When you've done this for a while, after a few minutes, you may find that nonsense comes out. Then you may find profound things come out. Then you may find that guidance comes out, insight comes out, wisdom comes out, or just the nonsense in your head. The nonsense in your head that is keeping you from being aware, centered, and in your power. So all of these tools have a use and have a purpose. Now, James Joyce was a great advocate of stream of consciousness writing, and he wrote 2 novels. Well, he wrote more than 2 novels, but he wrote 2 famously stream of consciousness novels, which were Dubliners and Ulysses. And it's a very poetic way of creating. In fact, a lot of artists and a lot of writers will do this intuitively anyway. What they do and what they say they do is get out of the way and allow something greater to channel creativity through them. Quite a lot of people who have said that it was not my act, it was something greater than myself that created this thing. And so when you're doing a stream of consciousness or a channeled automatic writing, you're learning that technique. You're learning to get out of the way and just allow something to channel through you that is creative, that is wise, and that is perhaps spiritual guidance. When you practice automatic writing, you may find it easier to do channeling, and this is because you now trust the process of receiving those messages and communicating them out into the world. As with any practice, if you find information coming out that is alarming, dark, confusing, seems to be telling you to do strange things, seems to be trying to get you confused, then you may want to cut off that communication, remove yourself from that situation, and always exert your own power and your own independent thought over any message that you may receive. It is perfectly okay to say, no, I'm sorry, I am not going to do that, I am not going to listen to that message, I do not believe you. This is always a risk, but the only risk really is in getting stuck in taking that authority over your own common sense. As long as you don't do that, you will be fine. So that's it. That is my tip on becoming woo-woo Let me know if you're woo-woo. We love woo-woo. Up woo-woo. Pride in woo-woo. Yep. We want to talk about subtle energies. We want to talk about fairies and plant spirits and spirit guides and spirit communication. Only be careful who you talk to and where you do it. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any comments on any spiritual experiences you may have had, any ways that you may get in touch with subtle energies, any practices to help increase intuition and spiritual guidance and meeting spiritual allies, then please add them in the comments below. I hope you found this useful and some help to you, or at least of some interest. If you did, then please hit the like button. Please like and subscribe if you want more content along these lines. Thank you for those who have subscribed to me, and thank you all for being here if you made it to the end. So thank you very much, and I hope to speak to you all again soon. Cheers and bye.